Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media. My name is Ryan Linklater, and today we are back with all of the Week 5 NFL reactions. And man, there were plenty of upsets throughout the week. Shout out to some of you guys early in the chat. We got Riley back in, an early bird from the original days. We're going to welcome in who we got backstage. We got Dan and Brady. And let's just say this right now, this is Brady's favorite game he's ever watched in his entire life, maybe even more important than the Tom Brady era. We're going to welcome in Brady first here. Brady, how are you?
First off, I love Drake May, but nothing ever tops Super Bowl 51 and Super Bowl 49. Shout out TB, love you. But this is up there. This might be number three. We don't win in Buffalo. We don't beat the Bills. All I have to say is Drake May. Uh, Drake May.
That's the only thing, Drake May. It's just
Nah, I gotta add on. I gotta even though it's
yeah,
as simple as
you gotta
saying Drake
elaborate
May.
a little bit.
That's all you have to say is Drake May. But I just want we had seen Drake May kind of really play well the last 2 weeks, but it wasn't against top tier defenses. It was against the Dolphins and the Panthers, and it's like he was playing great, and everything you saw on film looked great. But it was like a lot of people, including in my mentions, were like, "I want to see him do it against a good defense." I said, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. Like that's fair. I think it'll be a good challenge for him this week." And it started off a little bit shaky. Like there were some miscues by the Pats offense. I thought Josh McDaniels' play calling got much better in the second half than it was in the first half. It felt like first half they were coaching to not lose, and they were they were running the ball 2 out of every 3 downs and not really letting May cook. It kind of end of the first half, and then especially the second half, they started letting May feed Stephon Diggs, and it's really good as a Patriots fan to see that Stephon Diggs is not washed, and the healthier that he gets. I mean, back-to-back 100-plus yard games for him. He's going to be a real
Yep.
weapon for this passing attack, it looks like. And then May can work with Kayshawn Booty, Hunter Henry. Like he can work with the rest of that, especially if they start to finally feed Travion Henderson, which they may be forced to do with Antonio Gibson possibly being hurt. But those throws down the last 2 or 3 drives for Drake May, I mean, that play where he escaped the sack on the final drive and somehow got that off, that literally looked like a Patrick Mahomes type of play. Through the sack, stiff arming, throwing it as you're hitting the ground and completing it. Diggs with another big time catch and run. And then you've got the whole shot against that cover two to get them in field goal range was a laser. And the best throw of the night was that one where he rolled to his right early on in the second half and hit Diggs 40 yards down the field. I mean, this was the coming out party for Drake May. And it's funny because coming into this game all over Twitter and national media, I saw, a lot of recognition being thrown Drake May's way. Drake May is the first quarterback since such and such to do this. He's the youngest quarterback since such and such to do this. And it was really cool seeing kind of, especially on TikTok and Twitter, people kind of starting to realize what Drake May is. But I was like, if he plays really well on Sunday Night Football, it's a chance in front of a nationwide audience to really have his coming out party and to really make himself known. And I think if you're a Patriots fan, you have to feel really, really good about the fact that your quarterbacks have been nothing but trash since Tom Brady left. You've tried it with Cam Newton, Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Jacoby Brissett, all these different guys, and you picked May last year with the third pick. And so far, I'd say he's been everything that you could imagine. I mean, last year the wins and the stats weren't always pretty with the worst O line, worst pass group, and possibly worst coaching staff in the league, but they just got that up to league average pass catchers, league average O line. Will Campbell looks good. Mike Vrabel's a solid coach. I don't know if I'd call him elite, but solid and much better than Gerard Mayo. They're not top tier in anything, defense, pass catchers, any of that stuff. And Drake May is still coming out here and working with it. They're 3-2 through 5 weeks. They just got a primetime win in Buffalo. And Patriots, we've said it all off season, Ryan. They're a legit playoff contender. Like, especially with a win like this, you're sitting 3-2. You're 2-0 in the division. You're looking really good if you're the New England Patriots right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a big step for them, snagging one of these games they didn't expect to win. Now, I don't think over the course of the season, I would be surprised if they win this division still, but it's a great step in the
Definitely.
Patriots making its playoff berth this year. And we know we talked about this, heading into this week, is this was the game that Drake May, the measuring stick was going to come out. He's had impressive performances against teams in the early slates, not necessarily a primetime slate. You get Josh Allen, Sunday Night Football. Drake May sees the opportunity. I mean, you said it yourself. Like he made plays that we see from Allen, Mahomes, like the great improvisers. He did those type of things, and he completely elevated this offense when he needed to. He did just enough on big key situations to move the ball down the field, and they were able to get a win because of it. And that was in spite of a running game that was basically non-existent the entire night. Stephon Diggs has turned back the clock the last 2 games and has looked really good. And I've been impressed with how he's played. against zone coverage. I mean, that's how veterans work. They're really good against zone. They find holes in that Buffalo defense, who came in as one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. Josh McDaniels had a great game plan for keeping Drake May not super overwhelmed. And I think, I agree with you, it was a pretty conservative game plan to open up, but I also felt like it gave Drake May an understanding of what Buffalo wanted to do against them on the defensive side of the ball. And then in the second half, they had a great game plan of adjusting, and they made the great, plays in the second half they had to in order to put themselves in a position to win. And I think we're at the point now, and I know you've been on this for a little bit, like Drake May is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I think, whether or not you put him right at the end of 10, I think he definitely deserves to be in that conversation at this point. The talent's there. He's finally starting to make the plays to elevate himself to be in that position, and now he finally has that big time win. And I know it's just a regular season win. He doesn't have any accolades or anything like that, but this is a massive step forward in what,
Well,
it feels like a year where everybody's very jumbled together and there's not really teams separating themselves.
no one's running away. I mean, we just saw the Bills and the Eagles, the last two unbeatens, lose. And Ryan, not to cut you off, but I do want to add something here. Like, we're saying this about Drake, man. We're putting him in these conversations right now. He's still only 23 years old. This was his 17th or 18th career start in the league. And something really interesting with these next two comments I want to make, I just want to make it clear. This is no shade at Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels had an amazing rookie year last year. He's a good measuring stick for the class. Two things is, I mean, Jaden Daniels, he looks good, but you can't judge a guy off 1 year like people were judging Drake May last year. Jaden Daniels looked great. Fine to project him to be great this year. He looked great today. But people were like, oh, well, Drake May stunk last year. The stats weren't good last year, so he sucks. Like, people on social media are way too quick to condemn a player's career. Look at Marvin Harrison Jr., player out of the same class. People
Look at Josh
type up
Allen.
these narratives, man. I mean, I think Drake May is well on. And there was another point that I was going to make, but I got off track right there with Jaden Daniels. But yeah, I mean, Drake
I'll
May.
say
Oh,
this
I remember
way.
what it was. Drake May, the last game of the season this year, the last game of the season, he'll be the same age that Jaden Daniels was in his first career start.
Yeah, I think what the biggest thing with the Patriots, before we let you go here, I know this is only the only one you're staying for, but I think with the Patriots here, this is a step in the right direction. I want to see what they do with that step. Is this what we're going to see from the Patriots on a weekly basis, or are we going to continue to see a similar situation, where Ramondre Stevenson fumbles? They're giving the team opportunities to stay in the game. This Patriots team, I want to see them build on this, take that confidence that they can beat a really good team like Buffalo, and then carry that over into the rest of the season. I think that puts them in a great spot to make the playoffs in the AFC and potentially even make some noise. If you have a top quarterback, who knows what you can do? And I think the Patriots' run defense this year has been one of the more underrated units in the NFL. So Brady, I appreciate you hopping on here. I know
Sure.
you got an early check-in. We will talk to you next week. Actually, I won't be here with you next week. You're going to host next
Yep,
week.
that'll
So
be me. So.
yep, that'll be you hosting. Maybe I'll do one of these call-ins after Sunday Night Football like you did.
Okay, cool. Sounds good to
All right,
me.
all
All
right.
right, Ryan. We'll see
We'll
you.
talk to you. Appreciate you, Brady. All right, we're gonna welcome in Dan now. Dan, welcome in here. Interesting day around the NFL for sure. A lot of key games. We got we're gonna have to talk about the Cardinals and the Raiders, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Two
sure.
not great performances from both those guys. But let's talk about one of the more important games: Broncos versus Eagles. And this was a game that was going to be close. And it feels like the Eagles' offensive problems finally caught up to them in this one, allowing Denver in the fourth quarter to come back despite a 2-score lead because the Eagles could never put them away. What were your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, man, what a game, dude. I mean, I thought this game was over, and then the
Yeah.
Broncos pulled it out. Hang on, I got this stat for you. Bo Nix in the second half, he was 14 of 18, 163 yards, one touchdown. I thought he was solid. I mean, it just like at the beginning of the game, like in the first half, it felt like you could tell like his youth was showing. It felt like when he faced pressure, he was backing up. He like couldn't escape it. He was just making like it wasn't smart decisions, and I think it just like it seemed like Sean Payton and the Broncos just settled them down, and it showed in the second half. He was solid, and that defense stepped up as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this was a defensive battle for sure on both sides. So both offenses had a lot of frustrating times in this one, and the Eagles' frustrations continued. Saquon didn't necessarily have another monster game. The passing game for the Eagles. I know Devonta Smith got going, but Jalen Hurts was once again, not necessarily airing the ball out like you'd expect a guy to have with the weapons. And then, on the Denver side of things, Bo Nix did just enough to get this win, but he didn't look too great throughout this one as well. So it felt like
No.
two teams in a very similar situation with elite defenses just had to do enough on offense to get by in this one. The Broncos did just enough, and this is a massive win for them because you take a look at the AFC West now, and we'll talk about the Chargers and Commanders next, but Chargers are 3-2. Broncos are 3-2. Chiefs have a chance to move to 3-2 with a win over Jacksonville. This division's starting to heat up, and this is a massive win for the Broncos. What do you like about this Broncos team that gives them a chance to potentially take the AFC West, despite Bo Nix not necessarily off to one of the hottest starts in the NFL this year?
Yeah, and I think that's the scary thing too. Is eventually their offense is going to click. I mean, well, obviously the Philadelphia's got one of the better defenses in the league, so I wouldn't put too much stock into the offense not looking so great today. But yeah, I just think this defense is legit. Nick Benito, 2.5 sacks today. I mean, they're getting after Jalen Hurts. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total sacks. I count for the Broncos. So they were getting after it, and they held the Eagles to 17 points. Saquon on the ground, that he only had 30 yards. I know he had that big touchdown score receiving, but other than that, yeah, they couldn't get anything going running on the ground. And just like you said, the Eagles couldn't put them away, and the Broncos were able to get going in the second half and pulled out a victory, man. It's a huge win on the road, and no more undefeated teams in the NFL.
Yeah, no more undefeated teams. That is the storyline of the week for sure. But here's the thing with the Broncos. Like, it's been 5 games now, and we've seen one good offensive performance. And this is despite a schedule that outside of Philadelphia hasn't been super intimidating. So I know a lot of people crown Denver as the team of the offseason, Super Bowl contenders, stuff like that. They are not going to be able to win a Super Bowl if they perform like this on offense. And if Sean Payton is still that offensive guru that I think a lot of people think he is, then he should be able to elevate his quarterback's play to a little bit better than what we're seeing right now and get these running backs going a little bit more. So I think if Denver is going to reach their ceiling this year, I think they're going to have to find a way to balance this passing game and work it off the running game instead of having Bo Nix drop back and operate as the sole person that, gets this thing going, whether that's on first down, creating plays from himself. I think he needs other people around him to help him win right now and, be more effective in the passing game. And I think Sean Payton needs to go with more of that strategy instead of saying, hey, Bo Nix is Drew Brees and we're going to completely rely on him right now. I will say this, though. We got to count about A.J. Brown selling Riley's fantasy team. The thing with A.J. Brown and the Eagles is so – I don't know how to put it. I don't know if there's that much smoke to it. I mean, it's the same thing every year. It's the Eagles receivers are so volatile because they're in a passing offense that ranks bottom 10 in passing attempts. Now they have an offensive coordinator that rarely likes to throw the ball in between the numbers. So it's a frustrating time for A.J. Brown. Do you think there's any smoke to the A.J. Brown trade rumors?
The trade rumors? I don't think so, man. No, I mean, why would he want to leave? Unless he wants to pad his stats, yeah, but I don't think he gets traded. I don't think
I
so.
mean, yeah, here, like you could look at it and think of it like this, like the Bills would probably be interested. That'd be a great fit for him.
Yeah,
Like,
there definitely be teams interested, but like,
well, no, I'm not
does he want to win a ring
100% teams
or
be
does he
interested, but
want to
like
pad his
teams
stats? I
that,
don't know.
are basically like a neutral swap for AJ Brown. Like you gotta think he'd want to go to a situation where he has just as good of a chance to win a championship as he does in Philly. And he also is featured a little bit more in the passing game than he is now. You got to think about like the guy's gone from Tennessee where they had Derrick Henry run the ball 30 times a game, and now he's in Philly where they don't pass at all. So he's been in two systems where he's kind of been the second fiddle guy in the offense, despite him being an elite talent at receivers. So at some
Yeah, he's
point,
awesome.
something's going to give with AJ Brown because he wants the ball. Like this guy is an alpha wide receiver one. He wants the ball more. And I know you kind of mentioned like, oh, it's not all about the stats. Some of these guys do want to look a little bit better and
I
make a
know it's
little
up to
more
him.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know
So
what
I
he
think it'll
wants,
be
man.
interesting
I
to
mean,
see
he's
what
already
happens.
got
I
a
mean,
ring.
Spawn
Yeah,
Diggs is a great example. Like he left, he wanted to go out of Buffalo because he wanted more money. And, Buffalo is kind of trying to figure out what they want to do with him. You look, Houston has a big year, a couple big games here for the Patriots. So interesting to see what happens and how that one plays out. Let's get into the next game I kind of mentioned a little bit. Commanders versus Chargers. second straight week, the Chargers have struggled because their offensive line has not been healthy. And Dan talked about this. If they can't run the football, this offense was incredibly inflated throughout the first 3 weeks. And I was not right about a lot of stuff in week 5, but I was right about the Commanders winning this ball game. What did you see in this one?
All right, so it was 10-0 quick when I was watching. 10-0 quick. Chargers were on top, and what I noticed was Jaden Daniels had some pink shoes on, right? And he changed his cleats. I don't know if you caught that,
So it was the
but
cleats.
he changed his cleats, and before you know it, the Commanders scored 27 unanswered points. So I mean Jaden looked fine. I was wondering what he's gonna look like with his knee brace on. He looked quick. He was still throwing the ball really well. I think my takeaway for the Commanders offense is Bill, our guy Bill, the running
Bill had a
back
great
at
game.
JCM. Yeah, I mean this would be huge development if he's going to be the RB1 there. 14 carries, 111 yards, 7.9 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you saw him run, he looked electric out there. He's got some juice to him for a 7th round pick out of Arizona. So that's a key development, and I really like him out of the backfield for them. And just like you said, that defense of the Commanders, they're really underrated. That pass rush, man. Armstrong led them with 2 sacks today. They played the Raiders, they dominated them, and that pass rush. And the Chargers are missing 2 starting tackles, Slater and Joe Alt, and they miss them. They need those guys to protect Herbert because it showed today.
Yeah, listen, I think the Commanders do so good is they are always in games because of their ground game, right? Despite who's in at
Yeah.
quarterback, you have Mariota, Daniels, their legs alone make defenses second guess who's carrying the ball, and they're able to run these options very effectively. And we saw JCM have a massive game because of that in this one. And, I think he's their highest upside back they have, but they can basically plug and play anybody at that position and they can be successful on the ground game. We saw this against a tough Chargers defense, and they had their way on the ground against them. And Jaden Daniels was good in this one. He made some plays. Deebo Samuel had some really nice catches, and Daniels was making some really nice throws in this game. Wasn't necessarily super effective on the ground, but they looked really good. And I am starting to see this defense. I don't think their defense is one of the top 10 units in the NFL, but you could easily argue 10 through 15. They're right in that grouping because they have an improved pass rush. Their secondary is a little hit or miss. I like Mike Sanastrill. Bobby Wagner is really good against the run, but it's a very above average defense, and they played really well against the Chargers because they were able to get to the quarterback. And having 2 of your starting tackles out is a big time problem for a team that wants to rely on passing first instead of running first. And now you add in the fact that Amari and Hampton left the game in a walking boot. Their problems could get even worse in terms of injuries going forward. And Justin Herbert also got a little bit banged up in this one as well. So the Chargers are, start of the year 3-0, and everybody's like, "Oh man, them Los Angeles Chargers, they look good to open the year." And now week 5, they're 3-2. They have more injuries, and their schedule is only going to get harder as the season goes down the stretch here. So Dan, Los Angeles Chargers, are you buying or selling stock at 3-2?
Oof. Man, I guess I'm selling because I like Denver more in this division. So I guess I'm
Mm.
selling the stock. I still think the Chargers are going to be really competitive, led by their defense. They're just ravished by injuries right now on the offensive line. It's tough for any team in the NFL to lose 2 starting tackles and be successful. And just looking at the stats, Herbert led the team in rushing. You're not going to win NFL games with your quarterback leading the team in rushing. There's just never a recipe for success. So it's going to be tough sledding, but I still believe in the Chargers. They're going to be real competitive throughout the season. Hopefully Hampton gets healthy, and they're probably bringing a veteran running back. But yeah, I'll sell some stock on the Chargers right now.
Yeah, I'm probably, in terms of like the Chargers being a top 5 team, like we talked about after week 3, like that stock is long gone. I've sold that stock a long time ago. I think as far as making the playoffs, I think the Chargers are still going to be right in that mix. It really feels like them and some other teams are going to be battling it out in the wild card for a spot. And I could see the Chargers finishing around 11-6, 10-7. I don't think they're going to have a bad year. They still have a lot of talent. Khalil Mack will eventually come back. Joe Alt will eventually come back. Marion Hampton, we'll see what his status is going to be going forward. But there is a lot to still like with this Chargers team, but they definitely have some identity crisis issues going on here in Los Angeles. They've gotten away from the ground and pound, we're going to beat you up type mentality up front. They've changed that, and it's honestly hurt them for the worse. Let's talk about two teams, though, Dan, that I think both of us have been really impressed with the start of the year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks. This game was an all-time classic, and once again, we predicted this as well. One-score game, Baker Mayfield, and he got it done once again. We were on the opposite side of it, but he
Yeah.
did it again, Dan. What is so impressive about Baker Mayfield and this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team?
Just that, I mean, we always talk about it. I brought it up a couple weeks ago. Just we continue to just write off this team. I mean, they're banged up going into Seattle. It's a tough place to play. A long road away from Florida, and they just continue to find ways to win against a really good Seattle team. Obviously, Baker, man, you don't put him away. You give him one more opportunity. He's gonna find a way to pull his team together, and he's a great leader, and he's gonna find a way to win. 2 touchdowns today, 379 yards, and just like my main takeaway from this game was just it was like battle of Ohio State receivers. It was just like back and forth. Ibuka and Njigba. It was just amazing, man. It was like, okay, wide receiver U is in the house today. Just it was amazing. Just it seemed like it was like back-to-back drives. They had big plays and they were competing against each other. So I can't wait to watch this game again just to see what I missed a little bit watching it live. But yeah, what a fun game. And they pull out a victory 38-35. Huge win for Tampa.
Dude, it felt a little bit anticlimactic when a ball hit a defender's head and then it resulted in an interception for
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. It really did. I thought Darnold was finally going to get that, 2-minute drill win under his belt, and unfortunately throws a ball off a defender's head, goes to the defense, and Baker Mayfield is able to run out that clock, and they got the win that way. But the Buccaneers can just beat you in so many different ways, whether that's through Agabuka, finding ways with Baker Mayfield's legs. This rushing game has been effective to start. Like, they have so many different ways they can beat you on offense. Their defense is so flashy. It's like hit or miss depending on what version of the Bucs defense you're going to get. But their offense just finds a way to do enough on a weekly basis to where this team is just significantly better than their counterparts in the division between the Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers, to where, like the Bucs are just running away with this thing early versus years past where there was a question, are the Bucs going to win this division? I don't really think there's any question in our minds unless
No
any
question.
major injuries happen to this team that the Bucs are going to lose this division. Seattle, on the other hand, missed opportunity because they are in an incredibly tough division with 4 teams that could easily win it. Obviously, they dropped to 3-2 now. Dan, do you think they still have a chance to win this division after this loss today?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think they really missed Demarcus Lawrence. They're missing 3 key players: Lawrence, Julian Love, and Devin Witherspoon on the defensive side. So they could have used those guys today, but the Bucks on the other end are missing bodies too. But it was a real close game, and like I said in our preview earlier this week, I don't think this is the last time these two play. It might be in Tampa, but yeah, I think these two teams played again in the playoffs, and it's going to be another great battle. Seattle's going to be a good team. They're going to be real competitive in this NFC West, and they're going to be okay.
Yeah, 100%. We'll take a look at this one real quick though. The Baltimore Ravens, Dan, they are
I don't know.
they're a free win right now, basically,
Yeah.
with what they tried out there in defense. We thought their defense was in bad shape against Kansas City last week. All of those guys that played against Kansas City at some point in that game were out this week against Houston, and Houston put up a 40 bomb against them. And I thought Cooper Rush had a strong opening drive. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a little
Yeah.
tighter one, and then all of a sudden that offense looked abysmal after that point. So
Yeah.
do you think the Ravens, I know Lamar Jackson probably going to miss at least one more game, they have any shot of catching the Steelers to win this division? Because the Bengals and the Browns are not winning this division.
I mean, I don't know. It all depends on Lamar Jackson's health, but it feels like today was like 2 teams going opposite directions. You got the Texans ascending and the Ravens going the opposite way because yeah, they continue to lose. They're losing bodies. They can't stop anybody on defense. I mean, I, they're like the shock of like the century right now because I can't remember a team like heading into the regular season that like all of us were like consensus like, oh, they're top 3 in the NFL. Like they have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Like I was like, okay, yeah, like they're the top 2 in the AFC, and just like they couldn't recover from that first loss in Buffalo. and Derrick
No.
Henry fumbles the ball 3 games in a row, and they're 1-3, and it's just amazing. It's like they blew those games, and now it's gonna be tough sledding just trying to recover, just get those 2 wins. It's just amazing because like, they're so talented, and I don't know what's going
They're
on there,
so
and maybe
talented.
some maybe yeah, maybe something's brewing with their coach. Maybe it's time to get a
I
new
think
face in
Zach
there,
Orr is
maybe.
probably the first coach to go. I think Zach Orr probably the
Yeah,
first guy to
yeah.
go on is the defensive side of the ball. I
Mhm.
think they have such an uphill battle to win the division, but like I said, I put money on them and the Chiefs to win both their divisions last week. Don't regret it at all. I mean, both these teams are still the most talented teams in their division. I think with Baltimore, like especially with Pittsburgh's not very good. They're just not a good
No,
team, and I think that
they're yeah.
when when the Ravens are a bit healthier down the stretch, this is a team that could lose one game the rest of the year. Like they got the Bills out of the way, they got the Chiefs out of the way. They don't play the Lions anymore. Like they got a lot of these tougher games out of their way. They still do have tougher games down the stretch, but there's a lot of division opponents in there where the Ravens can take advantage of them and find a way to claw back in this thing. If they are going to get healthier down the stretch. So I wouldn't count them out. I do think they're a solid value if you want to place some money on it, but it's really looking bleak right now as long as some of these guys are,
Yeah.
um, you know, out of it. And I do think Shoot the Rock makes a good point here is that Pittsburgh always finds a way to beat Baltimore
Yep.
once a year that they have no business winning. Agreed with that 100%. They always find a way to beat Baltimore. So even if you account that game, they're at 4 losses right now. They could honestly 11-6 tie at the top of the division and come down a division record. I can see that happening. And I don't know if the Steelers team's good enough to win 11 games. I think Baltimore is good enough to legitimately lose one game the rest of the year with Lamar as their starting quarterback and they get a little healthier on defense.
Yeah,
So
they need Lamar. Yeah, they need him to.
they need Lamar back. That's the X factor for them. And I think if Lamar plays this game against the Texans, who knows? Maybe it's a little bit closer. I think they just were defeated from the start, basically heading into this game after they lost to the Bills, who took them out in the playoffs. The Lions was a emotional loss there, and then the Chiefs are basically psychological warfare for the Ravens. Add in those and injuries, they were absolutely screwed heading into Houston today. But Dan, let's talk about your teams here, the Raiders and the Cardinals. Which team are you more disappointed in after their losses today?
Obviously the Cardinals. The Raiders, we all picked the Colts. It's no surprise. We can talk about the Raiders later. I think the shock of the day we should talk about is we talked about it on the podcast. I said, hey, the Cardinals are on upset alert because they can't put away teams and they're banged up.
Yep.
This
We
offense,
literally, hey, if you guys want to go check the receipts, look at the last segment from our Week 5
yeah,
predictions. Talk about this for like 3 minutes about how the Cardinals can't put away teams.
Blitz Angle on YouTube. The Blitz Angle on YouTube. You gotta check it out. We work hard every week for you guys. So yeah, just the Cardinals could not put teams away, and it continues to bite them in the ass. I'm working on an article for the site right now, but they came out hot on offense. They came out hot. Their first 4 possessions, they scored 3 touchdowns. They had 21 points, but their other 8 possessions, they punted the ball 6 times and they fumbled twice. So just their offense continues to stall out in games, and they just can't put games away. And obviously, the turning point, I'm sure everyone's seen it, is the DeMarcado run, 72-yard run. He's about to score, and I
I
don't
know
know
why
why
he
these
did
guys
that.
keep doing it. I don't know. I don't know why, but they continue.
I know why.
He flipped up the ball. He lost the ball before the goal
You
line,
want to
and
know why, Dan?
after that play, hang on. After that play, the Titans score 16 unanswered points.
Yeah.
Cardinals inventing ways to lose, and they lose. I mean, this was a must-win game because the Titans are 0-4. It's a home game. At 0-4, a home game, a 10 games rest for Arizona, and yeah, it's just a brutal loss. 2-3, 3 losses in a row for Arizona, and yeah, they got to figure something out.
Listen, I will say this: Drew Petzing, he's overstayed his time in Arizona. It's clear. This offense under Drew Petzing is absolutely abysmal. It's a joke. It's the same type of thing every week. They can't score over 25 points. It's impossible for them to do.
Yep.
Right? They'll have a good start to game. They completely get figured out. Defenses make adjustments. They make zero adjustments on offense. It's the same thing every single week with the Cardinals. Their defense is solid, gives them chances to win, right? And that's why they have the record they do. But it's not because of their offense. It's the same thing every week for them. Um, And one of the more frustrating things from them is that they just don't see it. Like they just like keep going back to the same thing, same thing, same thing. Drew Petzing's their guy. Drew Petzing can fix this. Like we have the talent. It's all that. It's just not the case in Arizona. They're just not good. And it starts with their offensive coaching staff that puts them in these positions to fail on a weekly basis. And I was very outspoken about their running game this week. And I mean, Amari Demercado, I understand the play that he had on the goal line is completely unacceptable and him fumbling the
Yeah.
ball. But I mean, he did it on purpose. The coaching staff gave him 2 touches to that point and said they ran Michael Carter into the ground for 2.5 yards per carry and Zonovan Knight more than Amari
Knight, yeah.
Demercado, who Dan entering the game had a 6 yards per carry over his career. And they were like, you know what? We'll throw the practice squad guys over Amari Demercado. They're going to give him a better chance to go win this game. And in 2 touches, he had 81 yards. I mean, you cover this team more than I do, but
Yeah.
that's coaching at its finest. Like you don't put the best players out there in the field. You don't make adjustments when you need to in the second half. And you constantly cannot elevate an offense that desperately needs it to where they can score 30 points and go win a shootout. Those 3 for me, Drew Petzing's got to go. I mean, that's my simple analysis of it. What I saw today was the final straw for me, and I'm probably the biggest Drew Petzing anti-Cardinals fan out there.
Mhm.
But he's overstayed his time in Arizona. I don't know what your thoughts were on that, but that was my biggest takeaway from this one. It wasn't necessarily the way they lost. I mean, the interception, fumble, touchdown, like that, you can't
Yeah,
control
crazy.
that stuff. Like that's unbelievable bad luck.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I mean, I never seen something like that. And yeah, it just
Yeah,
like
what
for a
are
team
your
to
thoughts on the running
lose
game?
like that. Yeah, like 21-6, 12 minutes remaining in the fourth. Like you need some luck. The Tennessee Titans got it. That was their lucky touchdown. But yeah, they had an opportunity. The Cardinals had an opportunity to close out the game with 2 minutes left, with above 2 minutes left, and they ran 3 consecutive run plays for 2 yards. So they couldn't get a first down. They punted the
Yep,
ball with 2
yes,
minutes
I
remaining.
forgot to mention that. That was insane. A 3rd and 8 counter to close the
Yeah.
game was insane.
Yeah, so that's why it was like, okay, like we're gonna trust the defense again, and yeah, it didn't work. I just think if the defense is at full strength, they might be able to stop them, but they're not at full strength right now. They're still missing corners. They're missing defensive linemen. So maybe it's the conservative side of Jonathan Gannon because he's the defensive coordinator. So he was just like, hey, we don't want any pick mistakes, anything. Another key turning point too that we haven't mentioned is Brian Callahan had like the worst decision ever right before the half. He went for it on
He
4th
has
and
like
10.
one every week.
Did you see? Okay, did you see this? He went for it on 4th and 10. It was like I don't know, 30 seconds remaining or 45 seconds remaining in the half. He was at like I don't know the 40-yard line, and then Cam Moore got sacked, and then the Cardinals had an opportunity to get 3 points, and they couldn't move the ball. And it was like, dude, you gotta put up points there. Like they literally gifted you some yards right before the half. I can try to pull it up, but that was a huge turning point in the game too. It's like, dude, they're gifting you yards. You need like 15 yards to get in field goal range, and the Cardinals couldn't do it. It was crazy.
It
But
was
yeah, maybe
basically
you're right
2
about this
bad
offense.
offensive coaches going at it.
Yeah, it was a fun game though, man. I mean, it was wild, man. Wild.
All right, let's talk about Colts Raiders
Yeah.
now in that one. I'll start with this though. The Indianapolis Colts
Go
are
ahead.
a team to be reckoned with. They bounced back after their loss. Danny Dimes was incredibly efficient in this one. Jonathan Taylor, 3 touchdown rushes in this game. They are setting themselves up for an AFC South crown right now, and they're doing it on both sides of the ball, holding the Raiders to 6 points in this matchup, making Geno Smith
Yeah.
look uncomfortable the entire day. And Dan, Geno's got more interceptions than touchdowns. He got a massive contract this offseason with a veteran coach tied to his hip. Are you panicking as a Raiders fan? Be honest with me.
Yeah, no, it's not good right now. It's not good because like what you want to see is like all offseason Pete Carroll preached like compete. We're gonna compete. Like he said we're gonna win a lot of games. Whatever. That's coach speak. We just want to see
Yeah.
competitive games. We don't want to get blown out 40-6 in week 5. Like that's not showing up. Like there's people that travel from Vegas and California and LA. They travel and spend their hard-earned money to go to Indianapolis and they see their team put up 6 points. Like we can't have that. Like we can't do that. So yeah, it's very concerning. Just like we talked about last week, Chip Kelly's the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. His team put up 6 points this week. It's ridiculous. Geno Smith looks uncomfortable right now. He's a veteran. Like he just has
Yeah.
no confidence throwing the football. The Raiders can't do anything on offense. Anything. It's just bad. Like they got to figure out the identity. We don't have an identity. It's week 5, so it's not looking good right now for the Raiders. And it's just like, what's the plan here? Like Pete Carroll's already said, like he doesn't want to rebuild. He wants to win now, but we're 1-4 right now. So I don't know where
Well,
we're
part of the
going. Like
problem when you want to not rebuild is you have to have the roster in place to be successful. And the
yeah, it's not.
Raiders had a lot of changes they had to make in the offseason to make this team successful. And credit to the front office, they tried. Like bringing in Geno Smith was a great, start. You have obviously on the defensive side of the ball a really good front, but outside of that, like this roster wasn't necessarily built to win now. And now you add in Colton Miller's injury on the offensive line. Like I think Chip Kelly, underrated guy to be the first offensive guy fired this year. Would not be surprised.
About to be
Would not be
wild.
surprised at all. I mean, the way Geno Smith
Dude,
looks,
if
this
he
is the
got
worst.
fired
Look.
before Drew Petzing, oh my goodness.
Okay,
I don't
maybe
think
I'm not going to go that far. Drew Petzing
the Raiders
genuinely
would do it.
gone tomorrow. Drew Petzing might be gone tomorrow. Not wouldn't be surprised about that one, but I think it's between him. Brian Callahan has to be considered because even though he had a win, I mean Cam Ward still looks incredibly
He
uncomfortable
was
back there.
trending to be fired at halftime. That was the
Yes,
talk. He was trending. He was
he
gonna have to
still
drive
deserves
back to
to be fired.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 4 guys that absolutely have been horrible this year in the offensive coaching side of things. It's been Chip Kelly, Drew Petzing, Brian Callahan, and the 4th one is Kevin Patullo. All 4 of those guys should not have jobs after week 8, but I'm guarantee you 2 of them will. But aside from that, like this team has, I think you mentioned, like no identity on offense. Their defense isn't overly talented, and Max Crosby might be having one of the best seasons I've seen from him individually and over the past decade at the defensive end position. I mean, he's been a game wrecker and so single-handedly like carrying that defense to a lot of successful plays. And that's the thing with the Raiders is like Max Crosby can only get you so far by himself. Right? He's not going to cover up the holes in the secondary. He's not going to cover up, some lapses in the ground game. And I think they've been pretty solid stopping the run this year, but I think it's just like with the Raiders, you have to find a little bit of consistency on offense, not turning the ball over, not setting the other offense up with positive field position. And that goes a long way and, staying within a game to compete. And this team for the Raiders just seems like they need to be in a position where they're actually in a 1-score game. They were last week in Chicago and they weren't able to get it done, but at least they were in a chance to win despite Geno Smith having a bad game and turning the ball over. If they clean up the turnovers, if this defense continues to stop the run like they will be more competitive. That's the starting point. Then on top of that, it's just making the right plays and Chip Kelly putting the guys, to be in successful positions for this team to start winning some more ball games. I know it's week 5, and I know the Raiders fans are down right now. I'm not super high on them the rest of the season, but they have a lot of veteran guys in that locker room. They have talent. I know Brock Bowers is going through some knee problems right now, and I wouldn't be
Yeah, he's
surprised
hurt.
if he's a potential IR candidate. I think that why like rush a player like Brock Bowers into playing when you are 1-4 right now and he's got a knee problem that could lead to something a little bit more serious. And I hope they don't rush him back out
Yeah,
there if
no.
not needed. But like they have talent, so I don't think with the Raiders it's a question of like, yeah, this team's going to be as bad as the Titans rest of the season. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they probably finish around like 6-11, 7-10 with how they're trending. But if they keep playing like they do, it could be a 4-13, and we could see a successor to Geno Smith drafted next year. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for sure. And then the final subject, Jake Browning, Dan. How many more times are we going to see this disgusting performance from him on a week? I mean, there was plays. Yeah, I posted a clip today. He just like threw the ball to I think it was Kirby Joseph in the middle of the field, and I think T Higgins was like 10 yards to his right. I mean, it was absurd.
Yeah. Hey, maybe the Bengals should have signed Mac Jones this offseason. That would have helped, right?
Mac Jones will be a Los Angeles Ram in 2026.
But
Be
yeah, no,
surprised.
yeah, the Lions are good, man. The Lions are good. Put up
The
37
Lions
today.
have had
Yeah,
a cakewalk, it feels like the last month.
yeah, they're
I mean,
rolling right now.
I forgot about Baltimore. Forgot about that one, but it felt like Chicago walked through week 4 against the Browns. They were sleepwalking. This week against the Bengals, they were sleepwalking. They get the Chiefs next week, and I think that's going to be a great litmus test for both sides of it. The Chiefs, I know you got the Jaguars tomorrow night, but they're still plus 3.5 favorites on the road, which means they're basically a touchdown spread. Um,
Yeah.
Touchdown favorite on the road. But I think, past that Jaguars game, the Chiefs and the Lions a good litmus test for both sides. The Lions have a genuine argument for the best team in the NFC with how the Eagles have looked. The Chiefs, the AFC seems like it's opening up. Buffalo's had a pretty easy schedule. Haven't necessarily performed that well. Kansas City's trending in the right direction. Los Angeles not going anywhere. Like it's wide open right now. So it should be interesting to see what happens. Definitely very intrigued to see what happens on Monday night against Chiefs Jaguars. Dan, I know we previewed that one already. No rain in the forecast, thank God. I won't be getting wet
There
tomorrow
you go.
night.
No
And the
poncho.
final thing I'll say is Eastern time watching football games. I do not know how people do it. It is
Oh, dude, the
horrible.
worst. The
It's
worst.
so late, bro. Like what? Why do I got to start, a Sunday night football game at 8 and have to, stay up till 11:30 to start a live stream? It's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's why those people on the East Coast are always angry. They're up late watching their teams, and
Dude,
then if
I
they
was
lose, they're
angry.
even more upset.
I was in the car for 15 hours and I had my football start later than normal. That's not fair. You can't do that to a man.
I don't know how they do it, man. I really don't. I don't know how they live on the
I don't
East
know how they
Coast.
do it either. But hey, listen, we really appreciate you guys tuning into the Blitz Angle tonight. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more content all NFL season. And me and Dan will catch you guys next time.